Whoa, that was great. Quick and easy and hi.
Hi. It's so nice to meet you, Sandra.
You as well, my goodness. I feel like I know you already, but that's only by Twitter.
Right? Isn't it amazing how Twitter does that? Makes us feel like we know each other.
Love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you everyone for checking in, everyone who's watching now and in the future.
That's great.
Excellent. Yeah, I made a mistake and started a live chat on the wrong Instagram. I have way too many Instagram things going on.
You're doing so much busy work for Piano Music She Wrote. Like, it's just such a great enterprise and account, and really wonderful.
Enterprise. Well, it's the mission anymore. So, and you with your Clara Schumann mission, I can't wait to dig into it and find out all about it and how you got from where you were to there. And let's start by just like, where are you from? How does your musical training happen? And role models, all that kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah. So I grew up in Pennsylvania. I live in New Jersey now. I say I'm near Philly because that's the closest city, and Philadelphia is my orchestra. So I live right near Princeton, actually, and I teach at the Westminster Conservatory. I went to Westminster Choir College.
Wait. Me too.
Wait, what?
Me too.
You live in Princeton?
No, I went to Westminster Choir College.
Oh, you did?
I did my master's there.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's crazy.
Oh, we can commiserate later about it. But
yeah. I so much put that out of my mind that it's not a thing.
Right, but it's so sad. But then I also went to Eastman, and but my main things were choral singing, and art song was really my favorite thing. I sang a lot of opera, and did opera auditions for a number of years, and then I realized it wasn't for me. Doing auditions like every week and commuting into New York, and just singing the same 5 arias over and over again. Like, it wasn't for my mental health. And for a lot of reasons, I just decided I didn't want to do it anymore. And so I ended up starting to write, which I think is the next question, right? That's where we're going. Is that okay if I kind of get into that?
Sure.
So I started writing because I still needed a creative outlet after I decided I wasn't going to do auditions. Like, I still give concerts around locally, like art song things with my husband.
Fantastic.
My husband is a pianist also. I'm a pianist too. I shouldn't, but he's the real deal.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah, so he plays concerts for me sometimes, and like we give concerts around. But when I stopped really performing, I needed a new creative outlet, and I started writing. And I realized that, and this goes on the topic actually of women composers, or composers that identify with our own personal, whoever we are, identities. And I've since realized, since I really started writing and really exploring what it means to be in love with composers and sing the work of, if you're a woman, if you're a person of color, or to sing with who you identify with,
right?
It changes something, and that
Truly.
I was missing that before.
Truly. I so get that.
One of the reasons why the singing didn't work for me was because 95% of what I was singing was just what I was assigned, because it's what was appropriate for my voice, or was what people were hiring, or it was what the market likes, or what's always been done. And it wasn't satisfying me as an artist.
I so get you. I feel like this shift into focusing on women who composed finally puts to bed all this kind of, but I don't know, am I good? All this sort of doubt and comparing, and it puts it to bed. It's because now it's like, no, this is home. This repertoire.
Yeah,
I so get what you're saying.
It feels like who we are, right? It
Exactly.
feels more like it's identifying with our own voices more so than, not that I don't identify with all those
of course,
Mozart arias that I loved singing, or
Brahms songs,
Brahms songs, or the Schubert Lieder. Like
of course.
I would never give up any of that.
No,
I
of course
can't
not.
only sing that.
Right. So resonate with that, Sarah.
Yeah. But the thing was, I was never taught to compose. Composing was never something that was in my wheelhouse either. I never even learned to really improvise, like on the piano, even though I love playing the piano.
Yeah.
But when I started writing, it's like composing. I mean, that's basically what it is. It's writing what I want to write. It's my own voice. It's 100% me. Even if I am telling Clara Schumann's story.
But did you always have a knack for writing, like as a kid in school?
Yeah, I mean, like in undergrad, like I would write people poems, and I was always kind of telling stories, and like I was kind of a storyteller as a little kid too. Like
clearly,
stories down. So
awesome. Well, what a knack you have, and it's
so
it was always there.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's the the need to be an artist and be expressive. Like that doesn't. If that's sort of an innate need in us, it never really goes away, right? We just find different places to channel it.
Well put. Exactly. Yeah. So, but you didn't well, I guess you must have taken like English classes or creative writing classes, or not even. You just no, I'm just going to write now. And it just.
Writing is different from singing, from music. Yeah. And that you don't. I mean, obviously, there are plenty of people with writing degrees who have had great teachers, etc. But at least for me, like I've observed classes, and like I've gone to conferences and things, and I've had lots of critique partners, and I've studied a lot. Yeah, myself. But one of the things that's beautiful about writing is that I don't have any of the inhibitions of like teachers' voices in my ear telling me what to do, like I had with singing. And I think as musicians, we frequently sometimes get, or that the people I find who actually do the best as performers and have the most success are the people who are better at being like, you know what, I don't want to do it the way my teacher said. I want to do it the way I want to do it. And I never learned to do that as a singer. I was do exactly what the teacher says every single time. Or the composer, And so I didn't learn how to find my own voice because I was so just obsessed with doing everything the right way. And that was with writing, because I don't have that. Right. That's again so freeing. That now, like performing largely female composers. Yeah. That burden of it should go this way. Yeah, that's gone. It changes, doesn't it? Yeah, it's so interesting how. Well, it's like the Van article that I wrote about Clara 3 months ago that some of the pianists I talked about. Yes. Let's see, Alexandra Dariescu said this. Ning C said this. Right. They all said that it was freeing. At the same time, it was. It's nice not to have the performance tradition that is on you all the time. Such a burden, and so that also that freedom you have as a writer, clearly. I mean, I've read a ton of what I've read a couple of your articles and your tweets. If you don't follow Sarah on Twitter, what is your problem? Get on that. My handle on Twitter is the same one that's here on Instagram. So if you're here and you've got my handle, it's the same. So no excuses. So let's talk about how you got to Clara. Oh, right. Oh, so this is actually a great story that I love telling. Cool. And I need to write a blog post about it, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. So when I was in undergrad, it was my song lit professor, the Lindsay Christensen. I don't know if you had her. Did you know Lindsay? Well, yeah, I knew her very well. I had a Goethe class with her. Yes. Yeah. Goethe in Nita, and also, of course, because I was playing for singers. So going into her studio all the time. Of course. Oh, she's a love. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. I miss her dearly. So much so. She in the song lit class that she taught, she did an entire lecture she put up Clara Schumann's Lorelei song and Franz Liszt's setting of the same text. She put them up on the board side by side. And we went through all the criteria of what makes good leader, you know, text declamation and, you know, accompaniment and vocal line, etc. The criteria that we had learned judiciously as students in the class. And slowly, gradually led us to the realization that Clara is by far the better leader composer than Franz Liszt.
Brilliant.
And the lead out that she left us with, and I will never forget the light bulb, was, and very likely the better composer.
Brilliant.
And it was just like, and I had never in my life heard someone say that a woman could be as good of a composer as a man. Never. Yes, Erica said, yes, we love it when we compare different text settings. So valuable.
Absolutely.
And to hear, you know, just the concept that Clara, that a woman lived who had the potential to be as great as one of those great dudes that I'd been studying and learning the music about since I was like 5 years old.
Right.
It had never occurred to me that I wanted that. That
it could be a thing.
I didn't even know that was something missing in my life.
Exactly.
Put that in front of me, and it's a great story. Lindsay Christensen, amazing. So God bless my teachers, Margaret Cusack and JJ Penna. When I went to them, I said, Lorelei, we're doing this. Clara's Lorelei. Yep. And they were just like, of course. Like, my program was already set for my junior recital, I think. And they were like, okay, we're just going to make this work. We're going to, you know, because I was already singing some of Robert's songs. So it was just like, we'll just make a set that's Robert combined with Clara and, you know, the typical thing.
Yeah, right.
And but to this day, Lorelei is my favorite song.
Fantastic.
I've sung that song probably more than any other song. Like, I've used it. After I got out of school, I pretty much used it for every song competition there was. Like,
you are the Lorelei, Sarah.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's so like, you know, the siren singing the boatmen to their deaths. Yeah. Like, it's just so fantastic.
It's incredible. So much drama.
Oh my God, it's great.
I'm so distracted by the fact that you're mentioning all these people who are so dear to me. Margaret and JJ was my teacher, of course.
Oh, really?
And Dalton.
Oh gosh, yeah. I met Dalton once. Yeah.
Yeah, he
had a coaching with him one time after he retired.
Yeah, and you saying that you studied at Eastman, I believe Erica studied at Eastman, so you're connecting into the whole.
I studied with Carol Weber while I was there.
So we're just so connected.
She's very empowering teacher. Yeah.
Beautiful. So that was your beginning, De Lorelei, and you just couldn't stop. You just, like, once you discovered then
I was so obsessed with Clara that I immediately picked up the Nancy B. Reich bio of Clara Schumann, which if you are new to Clara Schumann, Nancy B. Reich's bio, which was originally written in the 80s but was revised, new edition in 2001, I think. Yes, Erica knows Carol Weber.
Yeah. Oh, we're all so connected. So Erica's saying, when were you at Eastman?
Alex says, love from freezing Berlin. Hi.
Oh my goodness.
I was at Eastman. I'm just looking at those comments. I'm sorry. I was at Eastman. I graduated in 2008. So I've been out a few years. You know,
okay.
So from 2006 to 2008. But okay. So I was saying.
So the bio.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I was reading Nancy B. Reich. Can't recommend that book enough. What Nancy B. Reich did for Clara is extraordinary, and what she did, just I mean, she didn't start the movement towards the research for women composers, of course, because it had been being done for before that, but that book was just a huge, like, yes, it was like a fuel to the fire, like, let's do this.
Exactly.
And anyway, so I love
amazing.
I wrote a report on it from my music history class. I still have the paper. I've gone back and read it. It's really adorable. I'm just like, women are composers.
Exactly.
my like 19-year-old self. It's so cute.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
I just
But
have to
then
say,
Yeah, go
another
ahead.
connection, that book, in the summer of 2018, I read two biographies. I never read books during that phase of my, well, I hardly do now.
That's
But
okay. Yeah, you're busy. You go through a lot
Yeah.
of repertoire. It's all right.
but I read two bios of Clara. I can't remember what the other one was, but that was one of them. And then like a few months later, that's when my whole, yes,
Yeah.
women. Why am
Isn't
I
it
not
amazing?
finding women?
Clara, I think I'd be interested maybe to do a study sometime of like, you know, for how many of us Clara is the, you know, sort of first foray away from the cis white men. I think that the percentage is probably fairly high. I mean, obviously it's not the case with everyone, but I think for a lot of us that she's the first one.
And that's just going to persist as more and more of the world realizes who she really was.
Exactly.
You know?
And she is this paradox, right? Like, and so I didn't really do much research into her for quite a while. And I didn't really think much about, you know, when I was trying to like pursue an opera career, right? There's no Clara in opera.
Right.
So I was just like, and then finally, like the year when I decided I wasn't going to do auditions anymore and that being an opera singer wasn't for me, I got an invitation from Lois Laverty, another voice professor from Westminster.
Yes.
To do, she's retired now, but she's a really great teacher for many decades. Leader, singer, like that.
Yes.
That's her thing. And my husband and I got an invitation to do a recital for her community where she lives, and we presented her with a couple program options, and one of them was me being like, well, I want to sing more Clara, but I know that Lois is more of a traditional leader fan, so what if we did the typical Clara Robert Johannes program?
Right.
And she picked that one, of course. And so being myself, that was, so like the thing I liked about opera singing was telling stories.
Yeah.
I love characters and people and discovering who people are. And really, honestly, I loved better the song cycle.
Right.
That I got to sing all the parts of every character. The idea that in opera, I wasn't in control of and I would miss out on the good parts and be like, no, I wanted to sing that part. This is why I'm a writer now. I get to write everyone's part.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But so for that recital, like I did some research, and I was like, oh, I should find some good quotes. Like there must be some things that, like I must have remembered, had things from reading Rice that jogged my memory.
Right.
And it was a rabbit hole, Sandra.
Oh, I can't believe it.
I got lost. I just got lost. Like, amazing. I found the volumes of Clara and Johannes's letters at the Westminster Library. I found the Clara and Robert's letters at the library. And then I found the Bertold Litzmann bio, which was the original bio that was overseen by Clara's daughter, Marie. Right. Which was it was translated into English in 1918. So it's out of copyright, which means it's available for cheap in ebook everywhere for anyone who wants to read it.
Right.
It's 1,000 pages long, and no one should ever even try to read the whole thing. But it is packed with Clara's diary quotes. Diaries. And this is where I get all my tweets from.
Okay, I was just going to say, I bet you that would be handy for the tweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've read enough of it multiple times that, like, the way I process Clara's story to write it into a novel was to basically sort of memorize it.
Okay.
So my brain is very fun, happy place, as you could tell, from my Twitter account alone.
Yeah.
But it's, so I have the Litzmann with all of Clara's diaries, and the diaries are missing. They're presumed destroyed by Marie. So all we have left of them is the Litzmann.
Is that right?
So, but because it's out of copyright, I have it on my Kindle app on my phone. And so in the mornings when I'm like sipping my coffee, I'm just like on Twitter, like, what should I read today? And I just open up my ebook app and I just search for keywords in the quote that I want, or I don't know.
Oh, amazing!
It's fun. There's so much information on Clara. She's a paradox, and I think that's what I mean, that's the wonderful thing and the curse about her
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
that there's so much information. There's so
Right.
much information. And every week I'm on Twitter, someone sends me something else to read.
Oh, fantastic.
Which
Wow.
is wonderful and awful because my
Yeah.
status as Clara Schumann know-it-all is a total fabrication. It's impossible to know everything there is to
Right.
know
But
about Clara, but I've just kind of accepted that.
right.
I can't know everything.
But you can certainly know a lot more than most. So what a gift. What a gift that
It's fun.
I mean,
I'm
yeah.
just glad everyone enjoys it. Like
it's also your personality that comes out in your writing is so fantastic. Yeah. So brilliant. So like how did you you were doing this opera, auditioning, all the stuff. But then gave that up. Totally understandable. I've witnessed that world so
all the
much
respect
from
to opera singers who can keep up with it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And if
the
you're struggling as an
suspense.
opera singer, Elizabeth Gentner has a new Opera Uprising podcast.
Ooh, yes, I've listened to it.
Elizabeth Gentner. I just did an episode with her. Hopefully that'll be on soon. But opera
So
Uprising.
cool. Look forward to it. So then though somehow was it all of a sudden now Clara's your passion project? Like how you just were in the rabbit hole and couldn't get out, or
I mean that was pretty close to the start of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So I started reading the the letters, diaries, and everything, and just got so obsessed that I felt, if you couldn't tell, I like to pretend that I am Clara, in case this isn't obvious.
Yeah.
And I'm so obsessed with her that I'm like, God, like, because she had it all, right?
Yeah.
Like, she had this amazing career. She had a husband who loved her. She had this beautiful family. She had fame and but it was not all.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
So much suffering.
She was her life was full of tragedy after tragedy after tragedy.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the fact that she, I don't know if the documentary that's called the 3 Lives of Clara Schumann.
Oh no.
It's that title is so accurate. She lived 3 lives.
Right.
She was Clara Wieck.
Right.
And then she was Robert's wife.
Right.
And then she became Clara Schumann.
Right.
Right.
And we're not going to say she became Brahms's muse. That was today's
my tweet
Twitter
this morning.
subject.
Yes, that's my current. I go on these tirades on Twitter or whatever. Yes, today's tirade is calling Clara Brahms's muse is very limiting, objectifying, and completely denies all the ways that she was essentially his mentor, career advisor, the way no muses.
Yeah, I saw you and Talia back and forth.
And the other thing she was making me talk about was the fact that, Robert and Johannes were her muses.
Yes.
Darn it.
Exactly.
For real. So.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so
I think the second half of Clara's life, literally half, right? So she was only married to Robert for 16 years. She lived to be 76.
Right.
She lived
I never thought of it that way.
She lived another 40 years after Robert died. She literally lived longer after him, 3 times longer than she was actually married to him.
Right, exactly.
And the part of her life that is most often forgotten or left out is the part after Robert died, which is insane because that's where her legacy really cemented itself. That's where, since you're a channel for pianists, I can talk about how she was. I want to say she's the most influential pianist in history. I mean, it's pretty close.
Superstar.
European classical music pianist.
Yeah.
Because what she did the second half of the 19th century in terms of being the first person to, I think you probably know a lot of this stuff, but first person to really say that a Beethoven sonata needs to be on every recital, that the canon looks like Bach, Beethoven, Chopin, Mendelssohn, her husband,
Yeah.
Brahms, etc., Schubert. That those were the people. She was the first person to do it, and she was the first person to really start making piano concerts a serious artistic, like she basically took church to the concert hall. Like,
yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Like Kunstreligion, like art religion. That was what she did. Because before her, it was a circus.
Yeah, weird programs, right? Like just
and literally the pianists were compared to acrobats, because the thing that was most important was what fireworks can your fingers do. Yeah. And Liszt epitomized that. Franz Liszt was, he did that very well, and he tried. He had some artistic movement, and he was an artist. I'm not saying he was only a virtuoso. He was an artist as well,
especially late in his life.
Yeah, but he gave up his touring before, like in the 1840s, he settled down to become a conductor and a composer mostly. He still performed in concerts, of course, but not on the level that Clara did.
Right. Yeah. She was it. Yeah.
She was it. The unfortunate thing that happened was, because she was working so hard to cement the canon, she left herself out. Her own compositions out. But I will say that there are multiple occasions in the second half of the 19th century where her works were performed with great success. And like when one of the years she was in Vienna, literally she ended up having to perform like her entire catalog, because the audiences were just demanding it. And she was literally, in her diary, she's like, I wouldn't have done it, and it took me forever to find parts for my piano trio, but I couldn't leave the city without performing it.
Oh, too bad. Oh, that's wonderful. But did other pianists play her at the rate they should have been at that time? Are we just really coming to it now?
To be frank, I don't know a single other pianist who was really performing her work, which is bizarre, because I know it must have sold, because her compositions were, the publisher Breitkopf and Hartwell bought all of them. She never had any trouble getting them to buy. She would send them the manuscripts, and they would always buy them. I don't know of a single story where her manuscripts were rejected ever, which was not the case for Robert and Johannes. They both had things rejected more than once. And Johannes, in particular, went through multiple publishers because they were rejecting him. And that's one of my other stories, about that Clara was the one to introduce him to his main publisher. But I don't know of pianists who were performing her work. The only one I'm pretty sure about, although, it's so funny. I'm pretty sure I saw a program of a concert that Johannes did. I think in like 1855 probably, that had one of Clara's songs on it. But I can't find it.
Oh, maybe you drank it.
I swear to God, I saw it somewhere.
Right.
I have looked for it and not been able to find it again. And now I'm like, it was a figment of my imagination. But I don't think so. I don't think I would have made that up. So
yeah, how to keep track of it all.
Show up. But the other instance of her work being performed that is a really good story was her 50th Jubilee. So she debuted at the Gewandhaus in Leipzig at age 9. And so in 1879, they had her, it was her 50th year, and they did a big celebration. And, the celebration at the Gewandhaus, guess whose compositions they did?
No.
It was an entire program of Robert's music.
No.
To honor her, of course.
No.
But she had just started working at the Frankfurt Hoch Conservatory. And the celebration they did there was they sat her in the front row, and put flowers all around her, and all of her students did an entire program of her compositions.
Oh, well, that's beautiful.
And that was 25 years after she'd stopped publishing anything.
Right.
So I think it's pretty clear from her diary that meant far more to her than the flower shower she got at the Gewandhaus. So. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So many stories.
Yeah, so I couldn't monopolize things. Yeah, I don't even know where we are in this conversation.
No, it's brilliant. It's so exciting and inspiring to just listen to.
Yes, Talia, she was composer and pianist in her own right.
Yeah, definitely. So, well, speaking of stories, you have the novel. Is it what stage are you at with this novel? Can you divulge? Sorry, what did you say?
I've rewritten it 4 times.
Oh, 4.
I have yet to convince anyone in traditional publishing in New York that it's worth traditionally publishing. Yeah, not given up. I'm going to start again another round this spring. I'm hopeful that now that I have a Twitter account to prove how many people are in love with Clara and would buy the book, that I'll be able to find somebody this time around. Because I think before it was, the market. One of the things that's been very interesting with my Clara promotion and trying to get her published places is that publications that are classical music publications all want to hear more about her. Every time I have pitched something of mine to a classical music publication about Clara, they have said yes. I have yet to get a publication either for the book or for an article that is a non-music publication give me time of day. That when I often talk to people who are non-musicians about how this is a problem, that in classical music the only people you know about are cis white dudes. Even my friends who are interested in representation in they're writers interested in representation in books or whatever, other movies and whatever, when I talk about it with classical music, they're just like, oh, but why do we care? And convincing people why it matters and why it's important is almost harder outside of classical music than it is inside classical music. It's very odd. I'm still figuring it out. I'm not giving up. It's just a very different kind of. I've been so happy to find you all on Twitter. That you all are doing this work, and it's within the classical music field, like there's this huge sort of rebirth, and like everything's just going so well, but it's the battles are still very steep. Yeah.
Right. It surprises me though that even among the creative people that are interested in representation,
it's a hard one to picture. So
what about a screenplay?
I mean, I've drafted that one too. I mean, for fun, but he's trying to start with the novel. better chance of getting a novel published than finding a blockbuster movie that wants to do your screenplay.
Maybe you could also like get a pseudonym and do like sort of like a Harlequin romance type version.
Would you read that?
Totally.
Oh my god! I love romance novels. Actually,
I've actually never read one, but I would read that one.
I enjoy romance novels very much. Yeah.
Well, there you go. So we're going to wait for all your products.
In Midget, she's working on a historical about Knack Stryker. I heard about. I can't wait. I hope that's coming out soon. I haven't heard about if there's a publication date for that yet, but I'm very anxiously awaiting that. Cool.
So, is there a novel already from some years ago?
About Clara?
Galloway, is that the
yes,
author's name?
Galloway's novel on Clara. It's very good, and I know a lot of people who really enjoy it. Yes, Antonia says, what do I think of Clara by Janice Galloway? Antonia says he has mixed feelings. I've talked to some people who really enjoy it. My number one, thing is that I want to hear Clara's story told past when Robert dies.
Yeah, right.
And that's honestly what, I mean, to be frank, the current version of the novel that I have is that, Robert dies halfway through and the rest of the book is her figuring out how to be herself,
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what, Sarah, the perfection of the timing of the right publisher and the right massive amount of money they're going to pay you, it's all going to happen all the perfect timing.
I hope so. It would be lovely. I definitely have big ideals and dreams for this. We'll see. But you know what, if in the end I can find someone, you all are so supportive, and this community that's that's around all this, the support for marginalized composers is so, everyone's so excited that, you know, if in the next year I don't find someone, I'll just do it myself and just,
Yeah.
you know, it'll work.
It's
gonna come out. It's just a matter of when and with who. So
I mean, until it's clear, the timing is not right. Like it will be right.
Yes,
Totally.
so.
Yeah, totally. So, yeah, I was gonna ask you first, any secret intel that like nobody would have known unless they dug through that diary of Marie's. But I guess there's probably tons there. Do you have like any favorite kind of juicy things?
Well, I'm seeing Alex's comment. Yes, never give up. I won't, Alex. I promise.
Yes. No, there's no way. So.
Definitely.
Depends what you mean by pulling a Virginia Woolf.
I know. Yeah. Maybe we'll think about that. But yeah, what was your question? I'm sorry.
Juicy story.
Oh, juicy anecdotes. I was trying to think of things that I haven't already told on Twitter. I mean, you know,
not to put you on the spot, but
no, I was trying to make notes, and I mean I feel like the thing that like we're sort of just like on the tip of the iceberg is just how much of Clara's work is in, you know, the works of Robert Johannes.
Right.
I feel like I don't know if you saw on Twitter a few months ago, somebody highlighted the research of, oh God, I forget the researcher's name. But it's on YouTube. It's actually, if you message me after, I'll find the video for you. But it's how Robert quoted Clara's concerto in the opening of Dichterliebe, his most famous song cycle.
Right.
Literally, the introduction is literally a copy paste from the slow movement of Clara's concerto.
Right.
And the fact that was news to like everyone, and like, how many times have I heard both those things and never seen it before?
Wow.
I think that there are a lot more of those kinds of things that we're probably going to start figuring out.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion on that. But
no, I can really see that. Like he was, I'm sorry to say, I've never been, other than his songs, I've never been like a
Robert fan?
Like, I love the opening of the Fantasy. I love that first page or two. And then I'm like, this is not going well anymore.
Yeah, I think
Alexandra
Darius, who's here, she told me before that she loves Clara's concerto, but for Robert's concerto, she just never felt like it's her. There's just no desire to play it. She's genuinely turned down gigs.
It's just like too much hard work. It's not it's not as inspired somehow. Anyway, I'm all for Brahms.
I have to say, like, I do enjoy Robert's work. I don't like to. I do think that Clara has more
so inspired.
just sort of a little bit more sort of just practicality about her composition. That is the forms are a bit more it's just more studied. Like, she just has a much more practical eye to it, and I'm not a such that I think the way his music could be kind of, you know, I'm getting vague here, and I don't really have words for what I'm trying to say, because these are things I think about in my head and don't actually talk about because I was on Twitter all day.
I mean,
but I have trouble. What I really wanted to say was that I have trouble really saying that I don't like to actively criticize Robert's work, because Clara believed in it.
Right.
It was her life's, his work was also her life's work.
Right.
And that's why I don't like to say, let's play less Robert, or Robert's music was bad, or because that is, for me to say that, or to even suggest it, honestly goes against Clara's own legacy. She worked
Good point.
so hard, and anyway, obviously I could go on about this, but that's
a big
usually
point.
why I don't necessarily go on that much about disliking Robert, because I
love his
like
songs.
to hear what Clara was passionate about, even if
Right.
we struggle with it.
But I've just never gravitated to his music like I do with, like, Brahms feels like home to me.
Yeah.
But,
for me with Clara's music, I wish I could explain how much her music feels like me. I don't really know what, it's really a hard thing to pinpoint and say, but I sometimes sit with her songs when I'm like having like a stressful day, and I will literally just go through, and like, I'm not a very good pianist, I can't really play her accompaniments, but I will literally just sort of like milk all the progressions and and just play them like so slowly and just enjoy like what she just I feel like her ear and the choices that she made, like that taste, like it just
so much imagination in it,
and it just gets me here, like I just and I can't put a finger on that. I can't, it's not tangible. I mean, I can try, but like I've felt that way with, I never felt that way with Robert, or I mean, some of Brahms' stuff maybe gets close, but not like that. So.
Yeah, I get. Do you have specific favorites of her pieces or songs, or?
I mean, like
you're not. It's hard to make comparisons.
I mean, obviously, I've said Lorelei is my favorite.
Right.
And then when I always like to say, whenever I talk about Clara's leader, I always like to say Liebstum Schönheit, because I feel like that's her greatest hit. And
it's a perfect song.
That, and Liebstum Schönheit should be as famous as Widmung. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's a perfect song.
Schönheit.
Perfect.
But I love her full cycles, like her Opus 13 and her Opus 23 are just, I feel like they are untapped, honestly.
Can you come over so we can go through them?
I would love that, Sandra. Oh my God, that sounds wonderful.
Oh, I crave that so much.
But I really want, one of my future projects is crusading for Clara's to both of the cycles are 6 songs, and everyone regards them as sets, but I personally think that they're cycles. I really do. I feel like the fact that they are not given to your average young singer, particularly women singers, is weird. And bizarre, because they're very accessible. The range, she wrote really well for the voice.
Right. Yeah.
You know, she loved opera. Like, she played Bellini as a kid or as a teenager. For fun, she had like her Bellini scores like on the piano and was like playing through arias and stuff.
Well, you can see the bel canto influence in her melody. Yeah. Even in that Nocturne that I played last week.
Yeah. So that was the other thing I wanted. One of the questions I get a lot on Twitter, like so often, is what people should play of Clara's first if they're like amateur pianists.
Well, the thing is, because she was such a superstar and because she had ginormous hands.
I know. I always make the joke that if you know what they say about a woman with big hands, she can play Clara Schumann's music.
Exactly. So I just put out these anthologies for elementary piano students.
Yes.
Under the piano music she wrote label.
I love them. I'm so excited to get them.
So,
do you have any Clara in there?
So here's the thing, like, you can't possibly find a Clara Schumann piece for that level.
No.
But I was really adamant that these elementary level students, pianists, be exposed to these great composers. So I did a little elementary arrangement of the scherzo from the sonata, and it's elsewhere too, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, it's such a cool piece. So I have a little arrangement.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. Oh, and I'll be able to play it.
Yes.
I've never been able to play it. Not in my life.
Yeah, it works quite well.
To get it. Oh, that's so exciting.
So anyway, so there's that at the elementary level. But as far as intermediate, or I might start with like, there's these waltz caprices. I don't remember what.
Erica says Opus 15. Is that the fleeting pieces, Erica?
Yeah, PS PGT. Yeah. So
Yeah.
some of them, I feel like number 1 and 4 could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
But these waltz caprices, there's a couple that are shorter and easier. I just don't remember the opus number of that. But I think it's number 7 and number 9 of the waltz, or caprices in the form of a waltz, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
And like, you could do some negotiating with them and take out some octaves out of some of those.
Yeah, I mean, we use almost all of that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Opus 21, romances number 2.
Right. Oh, the second one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that one's doable earlier.
I love the slow romances. Like, I will often just play the A theme.
Yeah.
Like the first one in Opus, both her A minor romances, the one that's Opus 21, and then the one that's without Opus.
Right.
After both of them, I'll play the A section, and then I'll kind of bumble through the middle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, hike it. Yeah.
Clara has a playlist on Archive.
Nice.
Yay.
So I put out these 2 elementary level anthologies, and they will be followed by intermediate level. And so I am going to, find something, and if it doesn't quite fit the level, because we are very level oriented in Canada.
Well, and it's good. That's what you need to do for students.
So it might be one of those waltz caprices, or a somewhat abridged version of something. There's this piece, Le Sabbat, from Opus 5, that it sort of reminds me of, like, around grade 7, 8 Canadian Conservatory, there's like Knecht Ruprecht and The Horseman. Those 2 pieces, this Le Sabbat, however you say that, is kind of a...
Is that the one that's the Hexen?
Yeah, it's not that one, but it's in that collection.
Oh, that's a different one.
Yeah, it's the first one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes, the Nocturne also, but I think the Nocturne is a little beyond intermediate, because I think it just has so much more. Yeah, okay, you can get around it, but you need some flair of a higher level. I think
one of the ones that I play, actually, that I can actually manage, is the prelude from the F. What is it? No, it's the D minor prelude from Preludes and Fugues, the third one.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
The prelude. I don't play the fugue, but
if you skip the
prelude
fugue
itself is
exactly.
magical.
Yeah.
If, once again, like you say, you leave out the big
just
stretches.
abridge it a little bit. Yeah. So there are a few things, but it's to the superstar with major hands. So she didn't write a lot of pedagogical little pieces.
No, but but that's neither did so many other composers.
Right.
They're played by students.
Right.
Like they've been arranged for students for a long time.
Yeah.
And there's
exactly.
We're definitely overdue for exactly what you're doing. So
well, it's my mission. It's my ambition to do a few more arrangements of her.
I'm so excited for them.
Stuff.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy this little version of the scherzo. And Talia, who just received those books 1 month after I sent them, she said she played that one today. So that's cool. So where do you think you're going to go with this work? Obviously, major bestseller novel. And what else?
Well, what ideally I want is a series of books, right? All about like women marginalized composers. So like, I honestly, when I thought this, I thought I would do Clara for a year, and then I would switch to I don't know, somebody else. There's too many to pick from. But I didn't realize that there was so much work to do on Clara.
Yeah, there's
When
so
I
much
started tweeting
material.
about her, and when I started tweeting about Clara, I really didn't realize. I thought everybody loved her. I really did. I didn't realize that there were so many people. I get so much hate.
That's so
On my
insane.
tweets.
Sorry
It's
to
gotten
yell,
better
but
since I've gotten to have more clout and, you know, more influence, I guess you could say.
right.
I have less of a problem. But in the beginning, especially, I had a lot of people like, and pretty much any time I try to tweet anything about Clara and Franz Liszt, I get somebody who's a Liszt lover who hates Clara because Alan Walker made it sound like Clara was the villain in his bio, in his writings about Franz Liszt. So,
oh my
goodness.
goodness.
And this just, today me having to take up the discussion about Clara not being a muse again.
Right.
I had that discussion, I don't know how many times, probably once every other month.
Oh boy.
And then my other thing about how I don't like to go through this, how Clara's biggest quote is that awfulness about her saying that a woman must not dare to compose, which literally should have been in quotation marks and is taken so out of context.
Yeah.
And it's not true. She literally wrote it as a statement of self-doubt when faced with another woman composer, Marie Pleyel, hearing that she was worried about she was doing better than her. So she was like, the way I tell myself that, I shouldn't feel bad how bad I am, that women aren't supposed to compose anyway. So that's just what I tell myself. She didn't believe it. She was just quoting what her cultures taught her.
Right.
She loved composing. She said it was the thing she did more than anything else.
Yeah.
So that's another, there's just so much, I don't know, every time I see someone speak badly about Clara, or these myths that villainize her, whatever, it just fuels me to just keep doing it. I mean, I might get exhausted by it eventually, maybe. I don't know. But there's so much to be said. There's so much to be said, and I think the thing that in the short term coming up is that so the Cambridge University Press just came out with a new Clara Schumann studies book.
Yeah,
you heard about that.
Yeah,
beautiful orange cover. Oh, yeah, it's on my desk. It's so beautiful.
Oh, I saw that. Oh, gorgeous.
So beautiful. So much. But I was just researching this last night. It is the first book on one woman composer put out by Cambridge University Press. Just in November.
2021.
2021. So we're going to celebrate it. We're going to talk it up and sell it. And okay, so because we wanted to do well so that they do more. Rather than being angry about the fact that it's taken this long.
Right. I want a seesaw constantly. Anger, frustration, joy, celebration.
Tried very hard, we vacillate back and forth. So we are having Joe Davies, the editor, is hosting the launch for this book on March 1st.
Oh.
And he's letting me talk.
Oh my gosh, letting you.
I'm so come on,
fantastic.
Maybe I'm the only person in the world who fangirls over scholars, but I just like these people, anyway, I'm so thrilled that they're interested in what I think about their book. It just absolutely blows my mind, and I'm so excited because I absolutely love it.
So great.
March 1st, everybody put it on your calendar.
Yeah, you'll tweet about it.
I will be tweeting about it like crazy.
Excellent.
No doubt about it. So that's what's coming up immediately. So
awesome. Hey, because we should probably wrap it up within an hour. So I just wanted to address this thing about how when you hear the name Schumann, just Schumann, it has always been Robert that's meant by that. Yeah. And we always have to say Clara Schumann or C. Schumann. I noticed in one article that you wrote, you were calling her Clara Wieck, her original name. So where are you at?
So
what
I am is that everyone should be first name. Like, we should be talking about Ludwig and Wolfgang and Felix, and, you know, with the Franzes we would need to specify, but
Franz L and Franz S.
and Richard and
right.
I just think that's hilarious. No, because I seriously think it's my personal opinion that last names will always denote men, because they're passed down, and that's just, it's a patriarchal society or culture that we have. So I really think that first names is what we should do. So I don't think that Robert's name, I think it should always be full names. I don't know if you saw it. I did a tweet about it last week. I think I found a bunch of programs where all the programs where it was Clara's, some of Johannes's and Josef Joachim also, where every single composer had a first initial on the programs.
Perfect.
And it's like, that is not hard, people.
Right.
There's room.
Exactly.
Just put it in the market.
Just need that much more space.
You'll survive. It's okay. Full names will live.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. In my Van article, I called her Wieck because the editor said to me that I couldn't, their policy is last names.
Oh.
And this is the same in academia. Like, this book, Clara is Schumann, the entire book. And I just personally, from school, academic, when I see the word Schumann and call a person Schumann, I think Robert. I don't think Clara.
Yeah,
so
that's how we were trained.
The editor, he said, you could use Wieck if you want, because I was like, I can't do this. I can't call her Schumann in my writing. I just can't. Like, personally, I can't.
Yeah.
And he said, well, then call her Wieck. And I was like, here we go. This is what we're doing.
Okay.
And I liked it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been nobody has complained. I'll put it that way. Everybody
that's good.
Has mentioned it, has asked me why. No one's ever said that they actually likes it either. But I liked it.
I liked it. That's her name. That's who she was born as. So I like that. Yeah.
And I did find a diary entry where she, wrote that she'd just given her last concert as Clara Wieck the week before she got married, and how unspeakably sad it made her.
Oh, God. Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much for this, Sarah. I could talk to you for another 8 hours on this. Oh, incredible. So we're going to look for you on Twitter at Sarah Writer.
So Sarah, S-A-R-A-H, Fritz, F-R-I-T-Z, Writer without the E, so W-R-I-T-R.
Right.
And I have my Bach mask avatar that,
And do we have a website or somewhere to go to as well? Or?
Yeah. I mean, I have ClaraSchumannChannel.com. That's my website.
Clara Schumann Channel. Because you channel her. I was going to say that earlier.
Well, I made this, like, for fun YouTube account last year and I have some funny YouTube videos that are, like, putting, like, emojis over daguerreotypes and, like, it's
nice.
Hilarious. So that's where it started as, the channel on YouTube.
Okay. I was thinking maybe you were her reincarnated, or you're channeling.
Sometimes I wonder.
Yeah, sort of seems that way.
Yeah.
Wow, incredible.
Thank you so much, Sandra, and thank you for all the work you're doing with Piano Music She Wrote. I'm so happy to be included in your enterprise here.
Oh, incredible.
Best of luck with all your publishing projects. Yeah.
We have today talking about Schumann on Bonice's birthday. So Mel Bonice.
Yes.
We're going to have a in-depth on her in February. We also have with Jean Urez, fantastic pianist, French pianist who lives in, I think, Texas. So next week we have a chat with Deborah Wanless, who is the publisher of the anthologies that we just put out, and a whole lot of other music composed by women. February 4th, Antonio. And then everyone knows Antonio. And I'm so excited to talk to him about his projects. And then February 11th, Derek Auger, who's the head of the Conservatory Canada, who's doing incredible work to get women onto their syllabus, and yeah, shining so much light. So it's super fun to have all of these incredible people to
Wonderful
interact with.
project.
Yeah. So thank you, and thanks to everyone who came along and
Thanks
all your
everybody
comments.
for listening. It's so great seeing your comments and your likes.
Yeah. So we'll put this up. I don't know. Last week we couldn't get the thing over to YouTube, so it may just end up living on Instagram, but hopefully it will also live on YouTube after that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so take care.
Thanks
all
so
the
much,
best.
Sandra. Take care.
Thank you. Ciao, everyone.
Bye. Bye, everybody.